WBTV investigates uncovering hidden charges on your cell phone. Federal Trade Commission says you may be getting ripped off and not even know it. The illegal billing has become a big problem, and now the government is trying to crack down.
But how do you know if you've been a victim? The charges are often buried pages down on your bill, places where most customers never look.
It wasn't until 3 months of it being consistently higher that we finally looked into it and discovered that we had been cramming victims.
Christy Hicks, a Chicago attorney, says she was the victim of a scam called cramming. In the days following Hurricane Katrina, text donations were billed to cell phone users with their permission. It's just one example of how cell phones are connected to our wallets. But the Federal Trade Commission says over the years, some companies with shady practices have taken advantage of this feature, capturing cell phone numbers through websites like these or through mobile apps.
Some malicious software that's downloaded on your phone after you download an app, and that gets your phone number, and somehow then you're signed up for some kind of service.
Once the questionable company gets your number, they cram on the charges.
You had to actually dig through all 50 pages to find a single line that had this $9.99 charge on it.
Wise Media, the company Hicks says crammed her, is the first the FTC has gone after, filing a lawsuit in federal court. The agency says Wise Media made millions, and much of it was from unauthorized charges. So how can you avoid cramming? First, the FTC says, never enter your number in contests. Also, read your bill all the way through every month. And if you find something suspicious, file a complaint. Call 877-FTC-HELP. The FTC says this is just the tip of the iceberg. They plan to go after cell phone companies who they say get a cut of the charges.
You know, how does this cut influence what happens here? What kind of profits are you getting?
Wise Media denies cramming customers and says the fees were for subscription services. An attorney for the company said customers who requested a refund did receive one. Need more help to spot cramming and make it stop? Log on to WBTV.com for important advice from the FTC.
Should gays be allowed in the Boy Scouts? This group of parents, scout leaders, and former scouts gathered outside the Mecklenburg County Council of Boy Scouts today. Most here came to say they do not want gays in the Scouts, but one man had a different opinion.
But by introducing this more open homosexual position into the scouting ranks, we allow the much younger scouts to fall to the submission, to the influence, and to the older scouts expressing themselves.
It pained me very deeply to hear some of the things that were said here about gay people.
Well, the Mecklenburg County Council of Boy Scouts will have 4 delegates taking part in the national vote next week on whether to allow gays in scouting.
A wildfire broke out next to an elementary school in California, and it is still burning tonight. The school was placed on lockdown. Students were evacuated. Firefighters were able to douse the flames closest to the school. There are about 20 homes still in danger tonight, but I feel like we keep seeing this kind of this dry weather out in California and these fires, and then we have the tornadoes in Texas and a heat wave headed our way.
And it's been wet here for much of the spring, but we got some wetness in our area tonight. What about the weekend and the races? Here's Chief Meteorologist Eric Thomas.
All right, Paul, yes, we did have some storms flare up during the evening hours. They rolled out around 9, 10 o'clock as they moved up into the Virginia territory. But for our part, around the immediate area, it was a pretty quiet evening. Scott Clark's Toyota City weather net, just the high clouds with the sun setting, 75 degrees. All right, that's our live data. That's the number right now. Steady temperatures, though, as we move you through the forecast period. So the bigger issue is going to be the risk of the thunderstorms, and yes, they will be here over the weekend time frame. So what about that impact on the All-Star race? And of course, you have the Sprint Showdown that starts at 7:30 tomorrow night. The All-Stars getting underway at 9. So we'll talk about all of that. Upper 60s, lower 70s across the Piedmont. Still mild up across the high country. How about Beach Mountain? They're way up there at 5,500 feet, and they're still close to 60 degrees. Not bad. So, all right, 67, that's where we think we're going to be in the morning. I'm not looking for widespread rain, but I cannot rule out a shower even around daybreak, and I'll show you why coming up on our radars in just a minute. But while we're on the subject of temperatures, today's high 85, and this is what I was talking about, one of our storylines. Pretty steady temperatures as we go forward, and notice they're all pretty close to the average high too. So certainly nothing alarming about what we're doing with those temperatures. Now, The major players on the map tonight, the big storm center over Colorado, a long front all the way across the nation's midsection. But anything south of these fronts is warmer, and it's unstable air with a bit more Gulf moisture in it, and that's why we are fueling these thunderstorms. That was the batch that came through earlier that ignited up around Rowan County and moved up into Virginia. But it's this batch here that has its act together. Now, the strongest thunderstorms with a severe thunderstorm watch remains over Alabama. But notice the leading edge of this rain is already tickling the western tip of North Carolina. So certainly some of that will be able to manage to get into the viewing area during the overnight hours. Again, you'll just see a large area of general thunderstorms across the region on Saturday with the highest risk of severe weather out over the plains. So let's look at the future cast. Next 24 hours already, see, in the morning, shower here and there. Same idea through the midday. 4 o'clock with the sun coming out, we're more unstable. Thunderstorms becoming a better bet. And here we are around race time. You'll see thunderstorms are going to be meandering across the area. Now, extending that into the Sunday time frame, once again, it looks like another busy day around here with thunderstorms flaring up. And then even by Monday, maybe that axis does begin to slide off to the east just a little bit. So, all right, the All-Star race, which is actually at 9 o'clock, Charlotte Motor Speedway. Tomorrow night, we are obviously going to factor in a risk of some thunderstorms and that temperature about 80. But now that's for the sprint showdown, easily down into the 70s, probably 75 around green flag at 9 o'clock for the All-Star race. Okay. 83 Saturday, you see these steady temperatures, low 80s really all the way through the next 7 days with scattered thunderstorms all the way through the next 7 days. It looks like a July forecast. So once again, stay tuned to Ashley and Kelly over the weekend right here at WBTV News, and we'll keep you up to speed with the radar and that race. Stay tuned. We're coming right back with more news at 11.
Closed captioning on WBTV News is sponsored by Subaru South Boulevard and Subaru Concord, where all we do is Subaru.